All right, welcome to Going the Distance, the Rocky series and Creed podcast. I'm your host Ryan, and with me, as always, is Katie and Kyle. Cheers! All right, guys, and this is exciting. I apologize already to our listeners. I feel like my voice is already worn out. I just had a wonderful visit with my brother, who's waving. Do you want to come say hi?
Is this a video or?
Yeah, well, come. This will be.
OG.
Hey,
Who are these imposters?
Well,
you
here-
do not belong on the Going Distance podcast.
You know Kyle. Okay, so
You guys are the Creed of the Rocky series, coming in at the end. I'm just.
he's
kidding.
just of course.
No, I'm very serious.
So, Katie has listened to the whole podcast. So she now you're
Yes,
putting
I'm a big fan. Big fan. Hi, Ruben. I'm honored to meet you.
Likewise, there's a good Bernie song called "The Trouble with Katie."
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
who sings that? Who sings that?
Bare Ladies. They're a band from the '90s.
I'm familiar. I don't think I know that song.
You're not Canadian. Well, no, it's a deep cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am not Canadian. No.
Yeah, that's okay, Katie. Where are you from?
I'm in Denver.
Okay, cool.
you of course remember
yeah,
Kyle.
Of course, Kyle. How's it
hey,
going?
Ruben, how's it going?
Very good, very good. I totally have hijacked your. Where are you guys at? Creed?
Creed 2.
Creed 2?
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many unanswered questions. in
Ruben
Creed 1.
Ruben does not listen to the podcast. We've made that clear throughout our show. But he's the
But I watched the movies.
he's watched the movies.
Yeah, so I know that not everybody loves Creed, but I enjoy them.
He does. He loves them.
Minus the wife. What's her
Bianca.
name? Bianca. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've had a few things to say. Now Greg the First is going to be mad at us again. Just when we had him back on our team.
All right. Well, anyways, I'll leave you guys. Bye.
Adios.
Nice to see you, Ruben.
Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you, Katie.
You too.
All right, so there you go. Wow, what a surprise! We got a surprise guest visit. We were just talking about how to visit with Ruben. My voice is
That was
already
great.
Yeah. So that was nice. Boy, what a surprise for our viewers to get to see him. Yeah, if you're on Patreon, you get to see Ruben's ugly mug coming on the camera. Yeah, it was nice to have. Where were we? Yeah, so I was just saying my voice is already hoarse because I just visited with this guy for 4 hours and we talked up a storm. But so this is a special episode because this is kind of a emergency recording in a sense because we behind the curtain here we've already recorded episodes 2, 3, and 4 regarding our Creed 2 coverage, but some news came in. We're going to talk about that we're going to insert a little bit early because I think it's relevant and relative to our discussion regarding the Creed films and the timeline. I kind of want to get this out earlier instead of like end of April or even beginning of May when the news won't be news anymore. So we're going to get into that with the email. So we have an email from some of our listeners. We have 2 from Patrick, and one of them will address what we're about to talk about. So let's read that first one there, Katie, from Patrick Mantel, our favorite German.
Indeed. So the first one from Patrick is called Title of the New Rambo Podcast. Hello, Ryan, Kyle, and Katie. Just listened to episode 1 of your Creed 2 coverage. Great as always, but the title of the Rambo podcast is even better.
That's nice.
So kudos, Ryan. He says, in November 2019, I proposed this title to you, Ryan. In parentheses, I attached my email and your answer. So maybe I had a little to do with this title, ? That should secure me a spot as guest host on one of the Rambo episodes, doesn't it? No, just kidding. No pressure. Looking forward to the next episodes. Keep up the great work. Best wishes, Patrick.
Yeah, wow. And he actually dug up the old email where he mentioned that as evidence that, it's funny. And I give full credit to Patrick, but I feel like, and I don't remember, I'd have to go back and listen to that, Patrick. And sometimes listeners know more than the creators. I thought I came up with that on my own, but you know what? I don't know. I don't remember. And some part of me does kind of recall, like, did I hear that from Patrick? And I feel like I did. And if I did, then I'm pretty sure I gave him credit way back when I first announced it. I feel like it was 2 years ago. It seems like forever ago when I talked about Rambo as a podcast. But I loved it. So all the same, Patrick, if it was you truly that gave me the idea for that name, I loved it. It's a long road. It's perfect. So yes. So Patrick, if it was you, you're our favorite German by far. And yes, you will guest host, I'm sure, on the Rambo. We'd love to hear your Nazi, I mean your German perspective on Rambo. I'm just joking, Patrick. We love you. We love you.
And even if not, that just shows that great minds think alike.
Right. That's right. Now, if he knows, by this point, he knows my humor. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he also sent us another email, and this will go into the news that broke on Sly's Instagram. So go ahead with that.
Oh, yeah. There's some attachments here. Okay. So this one is news of Rocky prequel series. Hello, Ryan, Kyle, and Katie. Just wanted to hear your thoughts about the Rocky prequel series that Sly is writing and trying to pitch to streaming services. And then there's a link there. Can that work? He says that MGM is excited, but he said the same thing 2 years ago when he talked about his Rocky 7 idea. He posted some dialogues on his Instagram page, and they sounded pretty good. The main characters are all back. Rocky, Adrian, Paulie, Mickey, Gazzo, and even Apollo Creed. Creed, he only sees at a Golden Gloves event, so that could be a parallel storyline. It'll be tough to not mess with canon sometimes. The series would take place in the early 60s, so we're talking young actors 15 to 18 years old to fill the shoes of our beloved actors. Maybe Sly would direct some or all episodes, ? Or even appear as Rocky to bookend episodes or seasons, ? So what do you think of the idea? One thing's for sure. I will never doubt Sly's instincts regarding Rocky again. I was very unsure about the first Creed 2 and was a knockout, and what a knockout that was. It's pretty clear that Sly really has severed ties with the Creed crew. He seems to let them do their thing, and he wants to take control over Rocky again. Besides, if this series comes to fruition, there's another season of Going the Distance, the Rocky Creed Rocky Origins series podcast for us to enjoy. I quickly did a teaser poster too. I used the image of the actor from the Broadway show as Rocky to be recast. The Philadelphia image is from the 60s when the prequel takes place. Best wishes, Patrick. So he attaches that's a really nicely done, that mock-up that you did, Patrick. So I don't know if you're showing that to people, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm showing that for our Patreon. I'll put this on our Facebook group. Yeah. That's really awesome. Kind of a cool idea. Obviously, the actor there is Andy Carl, who did the Rocky Broadway musical. That's the picture that he used. And I interviewed Andy Carl, of course, on the show way back when. Boy, Ruben and I
remember that.
Yeah, it was great. A lot of fun. Great interview. We're going to get into, I think that's a lot to unravel, a lot to unfurl. Of course, I want to hear Kyle and Katie's thoughts on this. But before we roll into our thoughts on the project, let's still talk about the Instagram post. So out of the blue, Sly on Instagram said, "Yo, I woke up this morning and I just put pen to paper and wrote about, he just wrote Rocky stuff, which I believe him. It's not much. It's a treatment. And he gave us some dialogue, some character development. And so what I want to do is let's do that. Let's look at the actual, now it's kind of cool. He showed, now 2 things here. He showed his handwriting on paper. It was kind of cool. He actually showed his handwriting really, and he actually says, because people can't really read my handwriting, it was transcribed out in print. 24 hours later, it was taken off his Instagram. So I had to scour the internet to find the print. Yeah, I know. Interesting. So if you actually go to the original link, it's gone. Now, he kept one of the pictures of the scroll up of the original treatment, but the printed stuff, like the screenplay treatment, is gone. So what I sent you guys, what we're going to read off of, is gone. It's not on his Instagram anymore. So I actually asked somebody who's kind of in the know. I won't say his name, but people that listen to the show might know who I'm talking about. I asked him why would that happen, and he said, well, it could just be it's being shopped around, or like Sly in his typical fashion might be putting the horse the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. So maybe ooh, slow back, don't put too much out there just yet. However, the internet, is very, in a good or bad way, it's very unforgiving. Like if it's out there, it gets captured right away. So here we go. I sent you guys the pictures. Now the first thing was Sly says here, I'll read not that one. Sorry. This one here. So Sly wrote this. It's kind of cool. So he gives us a little bit of insight here. He says, what was not revealed in the film is not only is Rocky a loan shark, he's actually sorry. Let me restart that again because now who he's talking about because the he is Tony. Okay, so what was not revealed in the film is not only is Gazzo a loan shark, he is actually Rocky's older stepbrother from their mother's first marriage. So Tony is Rocky's only real friend and quote unquote father figure, and this will be a very colorful relationship. So Gazzo is going to be a huge part in the prequel in Stallone's mind at this time. So, what's your initial thoughts on that?
I do like that Gazzo will have a big part in it, but it's pretty clear that there's no relation, like they're not related in the actual Rocky movie.
But I think in the original script, and that's what Sly is saying, in the original script, Sorry.
I know that. Yeah, I know that they had originally planned for that to be the case, but that's not what we saw in the movie. I guess I'm starting to honestly get a little bit annoyed with Sly, and this is hard for me to say because I love him so much, but I'm like, dude, have you not seen your own movies? Like before you write your next movie, could you watch the previous one or can you just rewatch them? Because I understand, he's not like we are. He has a lot of projects. He's got a lot going on, so he might forget. But like rewatch them. Like there have been several instances now where it's like, dude. And so now this is yet another, and it's like, come on. I don't know. I get that. I get that that's what he wants it to be, but that was not what we saw. Like,
well, this
that's
is retcon.
Not what we saw.
This is retcon.
Yeah.
And now, to push back, I hear you. Valid points. I agree. And I'm not saying that I'm so far I haven't said my feelings on this prequel idea. I'm going to get there. But I agree with you that I think one or two things might be happening. There's a reason why I got pulled. This isn't on Instagram anymore. It might be the studio's like, no, we're not doing it. Maybe he got stone cold. No, I don't know. I don't know why he couldn't do it with Balboa Productions anyways. Or there's some sort of legality of how much he can share before deals are made. But you could also argue there's nowhere with the dialogue and relationship that is shown in Rockies 1 and 2 with Gazzo. And keep in mind, you could almost argue Gazzo was at the wedding. So
he was his only friend, but even Mickey says you wasted your life instead of doing something something for a cheap rate.
Yeah, but he wouldn't say
loan shark.
That's still an accurate description.
Say that if I don't know.
But
I got something.
Sure.
The part for me that makes it unrealistic that Tony's family is in Rocky 2. Rocky's sweeping up the ring at night, and Tony walks in, and he says, "You're not a janitor, Rock. You're Italian. You can work for me." And then Rocky's like, "What, collecting?" He's like, "Yeah, what else?" He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say, "You're Italian." He'd say, "Your family," or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the retcon issue.
That's the time you would drop the family bomb. The rest of it, like, I could see him being like, I could believe something along the lines where he grew up with Tony and Tony was kind of like an older brother figure that kind of watched out for him. I could even believe if you want to go like the soap opera route and say that Tony's like his estranged older brother or something like that. And Rocky didn't know he was family and something like that. But yeah, the idea that Tony is his stepbrother is, while possible, kind of far-fetched.
Well, I don't know if it's as far as fetched you're saying, but I agree with the Italian part. But I know the Italian culture is really big about Italian culture. So you could also argue, in their mind at that point in their life, it's almost like they're less stepbrothers due to a marriage than they are like, dude, you're Italian. What are you doing? And I'm sure there's families that do that. Even religions. Dude, you're this. You're Muslim. You're Jewish. Why are you doing this? And so I hear you. You're right. It would have been a better line. Your family, Rock. And maybe you could argue they might ADR that later. Who knows?
Well, but why? It's like we're really jumping through hoops to try and make this.
It's a treatment too. It's a treatment
somewhat plausible. But like, why though? Like, why?
He's a creator. I think at the end of the day, Sly, and this is to defend him a little bit. he's a dabbler. He's a creator. He's this is what he does. He definitely loves ideas. He loves the Rocky character. It's not about, it's always about money. I mean, their business is entertainment. Their entertainment gets them paid. So I'm not criticizing him to go to the well that's made him very rich and popular. That's what he knows. It's what I know, Adrian. It's what he knows. He knows how to write Rocky. It's his voice. He's able to channel it. Some of my favorite authors have written lots of books on the same character.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way, there's no shame in
yeah,
that.
I know. I just mean like there could have been another explanation for why Tony takes the shine to, like, why they're close.
Well, you could argue that's why. Because you could argue why. In some ways, to push back again, I could argue that would explain why Tony's so protective of him. That would explain why Tony. Sorry, I keep saying Tony. Why Gazzo does. I don't know why I keep saying Tony. I don't know why. Why doesn't Gazzo fire him for not breaking thumbs? Why does Gazzo give him money for the first date? Why does Gazzo try to save him from? Why is he there in the front row? Why is he at the wedding? Well, in some ways, you could almost argue, well, he's family.
Well, or he is a father figure. They're friends. Like Rocky started working for him when Rocky was young. Who doesn't love Rocky? Like they just developed, I think it's sweeter. It's like Mickey. They're not related, but that's a father-son relationship. I don't know.
But like Patrick was saying, trust Sly in being able to develop that relationship. Who knows?
Well, no, he is right. He is right. Like about when he's right about trusting him. However, going back to what we've discussed many times, he does fuck it up sometimes. Like the continuity issues.
Continuity is an issue. You're right.
Yeah. So
I agree.
It's like
okay.
And,
go ahead, please.
Okay. No. He's just. I mean, he's getting older.
Yeah, it's true. He could be just reminiscing. Yeah. All right. So he goes on to say, this is Sly's words. Again, we're using his words on Instagram. Okay. He goes on to say, as the show progresses regarding this prequel, he's saying, as the show progresses, we will of course have the introduction of Adrian and her comical yet belligerent brother. Paulie. Having just moved with her single mother from Philly, so there's the single mother of Adrian and Paulie, from South Philly. From South Philly to Rocky's depressing neighborhood. They are a fish out of water in this new tough environment. So at school, the painfully shy Adrian is shunned, and likewise Paulie, who gets pounded on by the local school thugs. Rocky dispatches them with ease and helps Paulie to his feet. Now, Kyle, do you want to read the part of Paulie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hey, I didn't need no help.
Looked like you did.
I don't sweat nobody. I was going to blast them bums.
So I guess I saved them. My name's Rocky.
Now you think I owe you something?
See, now, okay. So I know
Sly. That was cute. That was really cute.
Sorry, say that again?
Friends don't know.
Yeah, okay. So now there's two things, or a lot of things to break down here. So of course we get kind of the idea where Rocky saves Paulie from a beating, but Paulie, remember in part 3, says, "Who was there, beating up those guys for you?" So Paulie talks about how he did that for Rocky later in the film. You remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, when those bums were saying how you talk jive, who whacked those bums out?
Yeah. Now you could argue that was done later, when Paulie got a little bit bigger. Maybe Paulie was kind of a runt, and he got his baseball bat. I can almost see Paulie going with a baseball bat later on in his teen life or something.
I have no problem with this storyline of Adrian and Paulie moving in to that neighborhood and having a single mom. Like, you see the picture of what is presumably their dad on the... Maybe their dad died in the war or something. Maybe, something happened there, or just a divorce or whatever. And then moving to that neighborhood, Adrian being shy, Rocky and Paulie becoming friends. That's all totally plausible.
Yeah. No, it's good. And that was a great little meeting because you kind of cool it. Again, this is the creator. This isn't fan fiction. This is Sly. This is his characters, his world. So he's giving the fans a little bit of a tease. And of course, he's paying a little bit of fan service, which is fine because he wants to get people excited. He wants people to tweet about it because that's how it gets buzzed, right? So he gets the old, friends don't know, friends do because they want to do. So we get that little bit of a nod there. We get I don't sweat nobody. Of course, Paulie said that I think twice in the Rocky 3 film. So a lot of callbacks almost to the Rocky 3 film here with their behavior and right away we're seeing a little bit of their relationship at this teenage life. It's kind of cool. It's fun to see. So no issues there for me either. Okay, let's go to the...
To me also, I just want to say that really he did it. Of course he wrote Paulie, so Rocky would know how to nail Paulie's. But that's a good homage to Paulie's character, like that is what Paulie would say.
Yeah.
Like Paulie would not say thank you. Paulie would not admit any type of fault. And when Rocky introduces himself as Rocky, instead of doing what the normal person would do and say, I'm Paulie, he would say something like that. You know, so like that, to me, that's a perfect job of writing for Paulie there. Like that's like totally, that's believable. That's really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, this next one has Tony as a character in the clips. Is Tony the bartender?
No, Tony
No,
Gazzo.
it's Gazzo, but it's written. This is
where
what I was talking about.
Yeah, this is where I got confused.
Yeah, I think it's an oversight on his part. I think when he shows the lines for Tony, I think are meant to be.
Oh, it's Tony Gazzo is his name. That's his name, Tony Gazzo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he refers to him as such in the movies.
I don't know why I had a brain fart. I'm thinking so much of Tony, the trainer.
Duke.
Yeah, Tony Duke.
When I first read this, I was confused because I read the Tony part before I read the other one.
Right.
And because here in this next one they mention Apollo, and then they're talking about Tony. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, is this an alternate universe? But then when I read the next page and I was reading about Tony Gazzo, I'm like, oh, okay, that's who they're talking about.
It does make more sense with the first page, in like talking more about Gazzo. But still, yeah, when you posted that online, I was like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
anyway,
so this I believe this is the other page that he released to the public was. So again, this is Stallone talking. He says, "This is the first time Rocky lays eyes on the young, muscular fighter with the strange name Apollo Creed. Apollo, dripping with brash confidence, stands nose to nose with his opponent, then faces the audience and declares, everybody do not blink. Do not let your mind wander," gestures to his opponent, because this poor guy is a goner. And the bell rings, and true to his word, Apollo dances out, gesturing at his opponent. Apollo continues talking. "Don't take your eyes off me, or you'll be sorry. Better throw something while you've got the chance." Apollo lashes out and explodes with amazing speed, and the opponent is soon helpless and knocked semi-conscious to the canvas. Apollo raises his hand in victory. And then he yells to the audience, "Apollo, I told you all." And now Rocky, I guess, is watching this on the TV screen with Gazzo. And Rocky, I don't want to leave you out there, Katie. So why don't you do the Tony voice, and I'll do Rocky, which I'm not very good at. Rocky says, "Guy's very good.
I want to clip him in the jaw. Shut his big mouth. He ain't special."
I think he is.
"Yo, don't do that. You let everybody impress you. You can do that too."
There you go. Not bad. So that's Rocky in the Rocky universe. That's his first time being aware of this fighter that's young. I guess Apollo would be probably 20, 21, winning the championship or climbing his way up the ranks. Who knows? But we see this young new fighter. And it's interesting because Tony already seems to feel Gazzo here. I would say Gazzo. Gazzo already feels like Rocky's a fighter. So I guess there's something in the series that we haven't seen yet that Rocky's already established himself as a fighter, as not a thug, but as a guy who can really swat, as he says. You know, really stings when he hits. And so Gazzo's saying, "Look, man, you can fight." I guarantee you there's times that we see Rocky use his fists, you know, to probably help Gazzo. We probably see a little bit more thugginess.
He just all these bullies easily, right?
Yeah.
So that shows that Rocky has some prowess.
Didn't he say that he started fighting when he was 15?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah.
Didn't he tell Adrian that?
That's right. He fought down at those.
He's 61, so that makes sense in the timeline.
Mm-hmm. And maybe this is when Apollo got his first nickname as the Dancing Destroyer. My favorite part about. I love all of Apollo's nicknames. So there's
King
so
of
many
Sting,
of them. But
Master of Disaster.
Master Disaster, Count of Monte Fisto.
Oh man, there's so
Muhammad
many.
Ali said he wished he would have thought of Master of Disaster.
Oh, well, Sly's great at names. He loves.
He is good at. He really is.
Yeah.
There's Creed's dialogue here. They're really trying to make Creed sound like Muhammad Ali without him sounding too much like Muhammad Ali.
He's extremely. Yeah, I guess it says dripping with brash confidence. Like even then, I guess that's interesting that there was never a time apparently that Apollo was not uber confident about his ability.
Well, that's like Ali. Ali was always really confident, and Ali always had these poems or like limericks he'd say about his opponents. Like say he's fighting Ryan Rebalkin.
Oh no, I'm dead.
Out comes Rebalkin on his feet. Then he meets Creed, or say Creed. Then he'll end up in a ringside seat.
There you go. I love it.
Or there's tons of stuff that he'll say that. And there was Apollo saying something. It doesn't quite rhyme though, but it sounds like he says, "Everyone, do not blink. Do not let your mind wander. Because this poor boy is going to be a goner."
Like that. There you go.
It sounds like it reminds me of that, like those little sayings. There's like a ton of them. Like Ali had he had one for like every opponent. Like he'd always make up stuff like that, and that's why the press really liked him. And I told you, that's an Ali thing when he won the championship. Right. But that's also in the first movie too.
Yeah, Creed and 3.
Be a thinker, not a be a thinker, not a stinker. Yeah. I love it. I swear to God, Apollo has the best lines in the whole series, like hands down. Polly's a close second. Polly has some good ones.
Yeah. His are usually racist and derogatory, but yeah.
I don't sweat you. So.
That's a great line. It
is. I don't sweat you.
My favorite. She's boosted. I can't hold me no more. All right. Okay. So that's my only Paulie impression. All right. So there you go. Now we're going to. So, okay. So before we roll into our huge email, I think it's worth that we read it. I think we'll just get it all out in one take and we'll make this. I don't know if I want to call this a bonus episode, but it's like, this is a discussion episode. We're not going to be doing any of the Creed discussion. Like I said, we've already done like episodes 2, 3, and 4, you could argue, of the Creed 2 discussion of the film, more to follow, of course. But this was a lot of stuff happened on like this. As of this recording, this is like 48-hour-old news, so it's kind of fun to get. We're probably not I know we're not the first people talking about this. Other podcasts have already gone out on the record regarding this. That's fine, but we're the one that counts. We're the ones that everybody wants to hear what we think. So I guess my question to both of you. We'll start with you, Kyle. Let's say Netflix buys Rocky's treatment and wants to make a series. Okay, sorry, I keep saying Rocky. Well, buys Sly's Rocky prequel treatment. 2 questions: do they give Rocky? Do they give Sly complete control? And what is the episode count for this miniseries? Go.
I don't know if they'll give him complete control, but I'm guessing if given what happened with Creed, the Creed movies, I think Sly is going to want control if he does anything. So if he doesn't have complete control, I think he'll be dominant in the narrative, as he should be. I think like it's his baby there. In terms of how many episodes, I'd say, I don't know, 3 or 4, something like that. I'm just pulling it out of my ass. I have no idea how many episodes it would be.
Okay.
But like maybe more. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's no.
I was thinking maybe like 3 40-minute episodes or 4 40-minute episodes. Kind of like the I can't remember what series it was, but
I think 8. I think 8's a good number. No more than 10, no less than 8, because that's the Mandalorian type number. It's kind of, it works, and you can make them like you have the freedom. One could be 35 minutes long. One could be 55 minutes, like depending on what the story calls for. That's the beauty of these streaming services. You don't have to make it exactly 42 minutes for commercials. You can, whatever the story dictates. It doesn't have to be a certain length one way or the other. So you can do whatever the number of episodes, as long as each chapter makes sense. And that's what made The Mandalorian, for example, so successful, was that some were longer than others because they had a story to tell. That was the story. Move on to the next chapter. Before we get to you, Katie, Kyle, one last question. Do you want all honesty, good or bad, what are the results? Do you want to see this happen? Do you want this to get greenlit?
I'm going to say no, but very hesitant about it.
Okay.
I'm conflicted. there's a part of me. There's a part of me that always wants to know more.
Yeah.
And that part of me really wants to see it. Like, ooh, some backstory, and like Rocky's background's kind of a mystery, so it's like learning more about that. That's great. But then the other part of me is like, I know they don't respect continuity. You're having none of the original characters. Like the characters are there, but none of the original actors
Well, yeah, it's
are
a
there. So
possibility.
you're remaking all of these people with like young actors, which to me is risky. I do like that time period though, late 50s, early 60s. Like I like that part. I love Philadelphia, so it's like part of me wants it, but I generally speaking, I don't like prequels. I don't like sequels that much for movies, which is funny because it's like I'm a fan of the Rocky movies, which has a whorish amount of sequels to it. But I even said really earlier on that the Rocky sequels kind of cheapen the first film a little bit. Like that first film would have been better had there been no sequels, but I'm glad they were made still. But I'm very hesitant about sequels and prequels and stuff. So generally, I think it's best to leave things alone. It's best to leave things a little bit of mystery sometimes. But that said, I'm definitely gonna watch it if they make it, and that's why they keep doing it. That's why there's so many sequels.
Of course, you're gonna watch it. You would have like you. It doesn't matter if that's So at the end of the day, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter what you think, meaning like should be or not be made. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. But if they make it, you're watching it, and they know that.
Exactly.
You can't not watch, even if it's to watch it be a train wreck. You're gonna be like, I gotta know how they do this. I gotta know how they pull this off. Katie, same questions. How many episodes? How much control did you give to Sly if you were in charge of Netflix or Amazon or whatever? And would you greenlight this? Do you want this to happen?
So I think if it's Netflix, I think they're like known for actually allowing more control than some other companies. So I think Sly has a pretty significant amount of control. In terms of the number of episodes, I was going to say 10 for the first season. What if this is greenlit? I want to see them drag this shit out for a long ass time, meaning multiple seasons. So I want them to go through, because there's no redoing that. Like this is literally it then.
So go right up to him, like entering the gym for Mickey's gym type thing.
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, so if they start with him at 15, I want to see, a season be 2 years of his life or something, like so. But I know that's tough to do because you sort of have to make it that it's hard to do a prequel as a series to such a big movie in that way, because it's like, well, until they greenlight additional seasons, they want to see if the first one has any legs. But in order to see if the first one, like you sort of have to like, if you're going to have multiple seasons and take your time with it, you kind of have to go into it with that planning. So that's what I think about that. And I have similar sentiments to Kyle in terms of, do I want it or not? Ultimately, no. I would much rather it remain a mystery. I think it's going to be near impossible for them to capture all of those amazing actors in the first one with young people that we are not going to want to vomit about. To be honest, like I'm going to be uber critical about casting. If they make this, I want to cast it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that's casting is I mean, like, so
$1 million idea real quick.
Yes.
I know she's not an actor, but Billie Eilish as Adrian.
Too chesty. She's really honestly, she's very kind of.
Is she? Really?
You
I don't
tape
even
them
know.
up. You tape them up. You do.
I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be like. I'm just saying. Her body figure is
No,
so
why?
different than.
I don't think that matters. Like, I
Oh,
don't. I
okay.
never noticed.
Because
I
she's
don't.
very.
I
Because
didn't.
Adrian's very svelte. I just saw her very like olive oil. Like she's very svelte and tiny
Well,
and
she is,
mousy.
but Billie Eilish is real skinny. I guess I didn't notice whether Adrian had big or small boobs, but I'm not a man, so I don't like.
Well, she always
We
wore.
catalog everything.
She always. Well, to be fair, she always wore
a big
100 sweaters.
coat.
She always wore
Yeah,
100
yeah.
sweaters. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What is it? 50 sweaters you
Yeah.
wearing?
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this, and I both of your guys' thoughts are you're echoing probably half of our, if not, I don't know how many of our listeners, but you're definitely echoing some of our listeners. I would guarantee. I'm gonna not say, but take the more of the positive. But I'm gonna take the side of, like anything, if done right, it will be amazing. Like anything, if done correctly.
Yes.
We could be in for a treat. We
Yeah.
shared our feelings on Creed and the first film, and I loved it. I'm glad it exists because we have Creed 2, which I think is an amazing story of the Dragos and Rocky's redemption with his son and his grandson. I mean, that's the stuff you can't have without Creed 2. So I'm glad that exists, and I think if done right, I think we'd be saying the same thing about the Rocky prequel, so to speak. And this is how I envision it. Maybe Sly's already thought of this, but I kind of want it for the record that Ryan said it here on the show before this ever gets released. The way he does this and the way you get people watching this is Sly's still involved and he's still acting. Oh, how is he doing that, Ryan? He's narrating his life. He's near the end of his life. He understands, like, let's say the cancer comes back. We don't see him die on screen, but the cancer comes back, and he's writing to his grandson Logan, and he's like, I want to tell you my life story, and I don't want this to get lost, and this is for my grandson Logan. And you see him literally finger typing on the computer, and we're seeing the chapters that he's writing, and you hear him narrate the story, the start, and then it moves into the past, and you hear a little bit of the that's when I first met your Uncle Polly, and you hear his voice. That's I knew this guy when I saw Apollo Creed on the screen or on the TV screen for the first time. I knew that I was seeing the most perfect fighter. And you hear Stallone's voice narrating his thoughts as we see it on screen with these actors playing it out. So I think if you combine Stallone's overture, his narration, these characters playing it out, and then the ending, of course, you'll be in tears because he closes the book and the chapters of his life, and gives some sort of wisdom to his grandson, and that's it. So you kind of like Rocky as a character is truly put to rest. We never see him die on screen, but he's writing his life story for his posterity. He's writing his life story, and we know his life is now complete. He's made connections with the past. He writes, and then, and that's how I met, not how I met your father, but you know what I'm saying. This is how, then I met, oh, your grandmother, she's the most beautiful thing I ever saw. All this stuff would be played out, and we get to see these early moments, and then that rolls right into the Rocky Part 1, but we don't need to hear that story because it's already been written, so to speak. So I think if you do like a Wonder Years type narration, How I Met Your Mother, whatever you want to call it, How I Met
That's what
Polly.
I was thinking was Wonder Years.
Absolutely. It's sentimental. It's heart wrenching. You hear the narration. It's been done before, but it's never been done before in a Rocky movie. And that's how you get the viewers like us in, because you're hearing Sly narrate this stuff. So it's like a documentary on Rocky's life, and Sly or Rocky's the narrator. I don't know.
I like that idea. As Rocky's or Sly is the narrator. I guess Rocky.
It's right. Well, yeah, it's like life and art at the same time. You're hearing Sly's voice in the Rocky caricature, narrating the Rocky character. It's like your mind would be blown. You're like, okay, I'm in. I'm hearing Rocky talk about his life. Oh, what happened to his parents? Why aren't his parents? Where's Adrian's parents? We're going to get those answers. And I know you talk about the mystery, and I'm fine with that idea that maybe we'll never know. But if Sly or / Rocky's narrating those mysteries, I'm in.
I do like that idea, Ryan. It also helps if I think it's such a long shot that they get the casting right. And my fear, I know they say don't question Rocky. So here's my devil's advocate point of view on how a sequel is very different from a prequel in that we all probably agree that the first Rocky is pretty perfect. And so now if we get something, and so sequels are sequels, like whatever happens after that, and it is what it is. But a prequel sets up the things in the first movie and it changes your mind, or it could either add to the experience of watching the first movie, or really scar your experience of watching the first movie if it's not done perfectly. You can't undo it then.
Sure.
There's no way to watch the first movie as is ever again.
Okay, I to push back.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like the prequels to the Star Wars films, there's an example where a lot of fans felt that the prequels, and if the sequels for that matter, really quote unquote messed up the what they thought was the Star Wars franchise. Okay, I'm just saying. Now, people have that feeling about the Rocky series already, so I can almost argue there's already that feeling in the Rocky series. There's people who swear the series ended after Rocky 2. There's people who say that the Rocky sequels, lessened Rocky the first film. There's people who say that the Creed films lessened the franchise. The Creed films could do without, or the Rocky franchise could do without the Creed films. I guess we can spin. There's like no one's right, no one's wrong. So I guess I'm at the point where I'm a fan of like some like Batman and Superman. There's been a lot of different versions of them as characters, and it never bothers me. I don't care who the artist is or who the author. I kind of just like the character. So Rocky to me is a character. I don't think he's sacred in the sense that he can never, but like he can never be reimagined. I'm even that way. I'm actually not opposed to seeing a younger actor play the Rocky story. Like it'd be interesting. I'm not saying it would beat the original. That's all. But I'm interested in seeing other people's rendition of this story. It doesn't bother me because you always can go back to the original. It doesn't take anything away from the original just because you see someone else's ideas with this character. Now, all that being said, Sly's at the helm, and so that's my argument for this to happen. Is like at least the creator, the George Lucas of the franchise. It's still. I'm just saying he's. Whether you like Star Wars or not, he's the creator. That's the whole point. So there's people that there's people that want George back. Is what I'm saying too. There's people that wish George never left because they felt the sequels suck. So there's nothing. No one's ever happy. I feel like in today's world, I think we have a spoiling of riches, an abundance of riches, and so we kind of not you guys, but I'm saying to our listeners, we can sometimes feel entitled with their. I want it this way. I want it that way. I guess I'm at the point where Sly's still alive, and how much longer, I don't know. His heart could literally end any day. He's 76 years old, or 74 to 76. I can't remember. 74 years old.
He'll be 75 in July.
Yeah, 75 coming up. That's 3/4 of a century. You know, he's not young anymore.
75 years old. You're 76 years old.
He's 76. I know. We talked about that. Yeah. That's a future recording, guys. We had a whole discussion on that. Okay. So
I'm with you. I think for me, what is hard is it's different people playing the characters.
That's fair.
Like, that's what's hard.
But your bridge is Stallone, the voice actor of Rocky.
Yeah.
And you even see him on screen. I would even see him like just he's got, he sighs. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
He opens up the computer. It's like, how do I log? You see him kind of having trouble, and then he starts, what do the kids say about that cloud? It just it's something something to that effect where you see him kind of, or old school, you see him writing it out and he mails it to Logan. Oh, there you go. He's writing all this out.
Typewriter.
Yeah, I would almost see him. I could almost see him do freehand more than typing, but same idea. You can see we don't know it's to Logan until the series finale, where you see him kind of doing his Rocky walk to the post office. He plops down this big package of paper.
He hand delivers it to a real life.
Even better. He hands it
I
to.
want to bring something up.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways.
Milo.
To me, if you're going to have something like this, it has to have a good message and story in and of itself.
Right.
Because if you create a prequel that all you're doing is trying to reveal some little nugget or mystery that the fanboys or fangirls are going to like I'm out after the first couple episodes.
Sure.
Like you have to have something like a compelling story. You have to have something you can learn from. You have to have something that makes you think, a good message or something like that. Like bringing up Star Wars, I love the original Star Wars movies. The prequels, I won't even talk about them. But the sequels, honestly, I'm not talking about Mandalorian. I'm just talking about like the
Right.
the
7, 8,
films
9.
afterwards.
7, 8, 9.
To me, in a lot of respects, you're doing the same old shit. Like you're trying to destroy like the Death Star type weapon, and it's just like, I know there's more to it than that, but it's just like, to me, the Star Wars universe is very limited. Like it lacks a lot of depth. And I've quit watching Star Wars because I feel like they keep making those movies because someone is going to buy the ticket because it's Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make a Rocky series because I'm going to buy or I'm going to watch this or view it on Netflix or whatever, like, no thanks. Like, I want something that's actually good writing and actually a good story and something I genuinely enjoy watching. Like, almost something where it's like, even if Rocky didn't exist, if you made a story like this, it would still be watchable.
Right. Well, what I'm going to say here, folks, is this has been...
That's a good point, Kyle.
Yeah, excellent point. All good points. Mine are the best, but they're all good points. No, I'm joking. No, I'm just joking. That's what I love about us as three hosts. I don't want us all saying the same things because I want each of us to speak, obviously, to what we feel, because I think we're speaking to the varied audience opinions that listen to the show. So there's going to be people that agree with Katie, Kyle, myself, all three of us at the same time. Even we're conflicted. I think at the end of the day, here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, we want a good product. Nobody here wants something bad. I think maybe what you two, I'm not speaking for you guys, but for those who don't want this to happen, it's not that they don't want it to happen. I think they're afraid that if it happens, it's going to ruin what's already there. I guess for me, as much as I love Rocky, I don't, not that you two are thinking this, but as much as I love Rocky and like I cry in the films, I get inspired. I created a whole freaking podcast dedicated to the character. I also, to me, it's it's infallible. Like, go nuts with the character. Do what you want, but not to keep squeezing blood from a rock. But so far, I haven't really been let down. Like, I enjoy the Creed films. I've enjoyed the sequels. I've enjoyed the journey. And if Sly's at the helm for a prequel, and even that little treatment that I read, it got me excited. I'm like, Sly's telling a story, and I'm not afraid to listen to it. And secondly, though, I do agree with some of the comments that were on Twitter and Instagram is, you put a gun to my head. I want a Rambo prequel first. I want to see Rambo in the Vietnam War. I think there's more. I think that's more interesting. I know it's a whole other discussion because we haven't got to the Rambo franchise, but I kind of hear those arguments. I think if you had put a gun to my head, so Ryan, choose a Rambo versus a Rocky prequel, I would rather have a Rambo prequel. I think that's safer. Yeah.
Just real quick. How did Rocky not serve in Vietnam? He would have been drafted for sure.
Maybe they talk about it in the prequel.
Like his age is like, he would have been 20 and 66. So his early 20s and the late 60s.
Yeah, he was
didn't have any chance of deferment or anything like that. He would have been scooped up into that war.
Not everyone was drafted though.
Yeah, like
not everyone, but they generally drafted a lot of the low and working class first.
Well, no, it was a lottery system. Like my dad told me that, like his number, like
the lottery system.
I don't know enough to be honest with you.
Like the initial part of the war, it wasn't a lottery system, and then they put that in later because people were getting pissed off because they were drafting basically poor people.
Oh, I don't think I realized that. But yeah, my dad was like, my number was like 350 something. So like there was no way he was ever going to go. So he was like, I'll go to college then, you know?
Good question. But, I mean, it's obviously it's a fake characters, but that maybe it's addressed. That's an interesting angle. If it goes that many seasons, they could address it, but maybe they just avoid it altogether by not going that deep. If it even never gets made. Yeah. So all that being said, this has been an amazing discussion. What we're going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, we kind of teased this. We had an email from Seco, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to, in the episodes that are in the future, because it's all Creed 2 talk, it's a huge email. So Seco's listening to this. Long story short, the guy doesn't like Creed 2, and that's fine. And so he's going to talk about his thoughts on Creed 2, but we're going to break it down in like 3 parts, quite frankly. It's an email that's like 3 long emails put into one email. And what we'll do is over episodes, discussions, 5, 6, 7, or whatever it is, we'll talk to Seco's points and like we've done with all the emails, we'll give it a fair treatment. But what I love about it, I just want to say is thank you, Seiko. Two things. Number one, I keep saying he's from Germany, so it's not true. He's from the Netherlands. So we have two listeners, at least, from the Netherlands. I know. I keep getting mixed up.
Who's the other one?
That was the guy, Vincent, that wrote us.
Sorry. I didn't.
Guys, just give me 1 sec. I
didn't mean to put you on the spot, Ryan. But
No, that's fine.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. It was Vincent. He's Vinny's Closet or something like that on Twitter. But yeah, so I said that I said Vincent was our favorite guy from the Netherlands. So Seiko and I were actually talking, Katie, and you mentioned that you want to go to the Netherlands. He's saying that the men there are your type. Now,
well, I've been there, but only once in high school, and I feel like everything I know about it, I would like to live there. So,
well, he wants you to come there. I believe he's not single.
Does he know what my type is?
Yes. Well, I don't know, but he apparently the men there are tall.
Like
the men there are tall and like handsome and rugged and muscular. Like he's like because he's like 6'1", and he's considered a runt compared to a lot of the men from Netherlands.
Hilarious.
Yeah, well, the average height is 6 feet in the Netherlands.
That's crazy.
I
didn't notice a lot of tall people when I was there.
I didn't
stand out.
That's really tall. I didn't realize that there were no.
Well, maybe he's exaggerating, but
folks. But yeah.
What's your type of guy? I don't think you've ever made it clear.
Well, Frank Grillo.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I like very sculpted. Like basically perfect. Like perfection is my type. I do like good hair, dark hair, chiseled bone structure, sculpted body, not necessarily bulky, but sculpted body. And you don't have to be like super tall, but tall's helpful. Definitely taller than me, and I'm not that tall. But
it says here, if you moved here, he says, if you moved to the Netherlands and updated your Tinder account with preference for tall, you would have 7 dates a week.
It's funny because I actually feel bad for men that are not tall because that's a thing for a lot of women. It's not for me as long as you're not like super short, like. But
so
like
all the single male listeners who are listening to the show who do not meet Katie Sanders, they are shriveling in their seats in shame right now. So good job, Katie.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't really describe anything other than Frank Grillo, but like literally his exact look.
Sure, he's a handsome guy, and he's for 50 something
everything
now.
About that look, that Mediterranean, it's my jam. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fair. My look is I won't say because I have a married woman. No. We all have that's fine. That's fair. I was just actually curious. I think you've kind of made it clear throughout the recordings, but so all you guys out there who fit that, email Katie at. No,
yeah. If any of our listeners have a perfect physique, or how tall are you, Katie?
I'm 5'5", so
taller than 5'5".
Well, it'd be awesome if you were like 5'9" at least.
Okay, so average height in America is 5'9". So if you're average height, but you have a perfect body, like the Rocky films, do they have to make really good money, or do you care about that?
No. I actually don't care at all about money. At all. Don't care about money.
Wow. So a trophy. You're looking for a trophy husband.
No. No, I want you to be smart.
A himbo?
No, I don't want. No,
I know.
I don't want to be a sugar mama. I want us to be equals, but
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably vegan too, right? Or does
they don't have to be? It's like a big bonus, but you have to be open-minded enough to like get it. You know what I mean?
They're not like taunting you by eating a burger right in front of you, being like or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. And is there a reason why you're single, Katie? I'm just joking. All right. No. That's that's fine.
Good point, Ryan.
No. Don't. Well, here's the thing. This is for all of our listeners. Nobody settle. You're just going to be miserable. If you're settling, then you're just unhappy anyways.
Hey, look. If people didn't settle, I wouldn't be married.
Oh,
Okay.
stop it! Stop
If
it!
Yeah, don't. No.
No, Kyle,
No,
you are a good
no.
man. You're funny and
No,
handsome.
you are a major catch. Both
Yeah.
of you are a catches.
Oh,
But,
stop
I
it.
mean,
Oh, boy.
it's unfortunate. You both have been caught already. For all
Well,
of our
I'll
other
put you on.
lady listeners.
I'll put you on retainer there, Katie. If my marriage doesn't work out, no, I'm just joking. I don't fit your build at all. But no, that's funny. I appreciate that. I appreciate you don't mind sharing that because I think it's fun for our listeners to hear that. So
Yeah.
so we're gonna end this as a bonus. I guess it's kind of officially a bonus episode. I'm gonna throw this out midweek so our listeners will get a little surprise, unbeknownst to them. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to read this first part of Seiko's email?
No, we'll
Or
save
no?
it. We'll save it.
Oh,
So this will
okay,
literally
okay.
be this is a Rocky prequel bonus episode discussion. I think we brought some great points. I think we're divisive in a good way. I'd be interested in hearing people's comments. So if you have a comment, people email us at gtdwithrr@gmail.com. Tell us if you think a Rocky prequel is what we need or don't need and why. Don't just say yes and nothing. Don't just say no and nothing. Give us a reason why. Not a huge essay, but just something
you
about.
put it in 200 words, you punks.
Yeah, 100 words or less. No, I'm joking. And then on Twitter as well, comment under this episode release if you think that's what we should do, and or a Facebook group. So a lot of different places where you can comment, and leave us feedback. We'd like to thank our Patreons who've already, at the time of this recording, they've already listened to episode 1 of season 2. That's the Advantage guys. They've already heard and have commented and emailed us regarding it. And you got to see the video of it too, so that's always exciting. So people, if you want to join Patreon for as low as $1 a month, you get early releases. There are video releases too, early audio releases too, but you get the early video. You get to see the jokes that don't make the cut. Trust me, there's a few. I make Nazi jokes. No. Jokes that don't make the cut are all on there in the video. You get to see our faces and get to see. I think it's important sometimes too because you see our faces where you can tell we're joking. A lot of mannerisms that get lost in audio that you don't see. But the smirks and the smile, especially Kyle, because I always make jokes and you don't see Kyle smiling or laughing. I feel like I fall flat, and I'm like, I think Kyle is having fun. He does have a good time. He's smiling most of the episode. Trust me. All right. Anything you guys want to say before we leave?
I'll share a horrible joke off record.
You want this for the Patreon?
I guess so, but it's pretty bad.
Okay, we'll save it then. We'll save
car.
it. No, well, maybe not because this still goes to YouTube eventually. So okay, we'll save it after. Okay, so who took us out last time? I guess it's kind of hard.
I did.
Katie did.
I did.
Okay.
So it's Kyle's turn.
Ding, ding.